like to begin to acknowledge that we are blessed to live and learn and work alongside tremendous educators and wonderful students on Treaty 4 traditional lands. Traditional lands in the Nehiyawak, Nakaway, Nakota, and homeland of the Métis, Lakota, and Dakota. We would also like to take this time to recognize some special guests in attendance today. Special guests ask that when I say your name, you just give a little wave. Regina Catholic Division Superintendent of Human Resources, Heidi Hildebrandt. And members of Bupcha's family. And also my family. There are so many reasons we gather as a school community: to celebrate, to learn, to pray. Today we're going to do all three. So let us take a moment to quiet our hearts so that we can be present to the message being shared today. I invite Matthew Hammond to come and share a prayer.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. God of peace and love, during this Remembrance Week, we are called to remember. We remember that in Jesus of Nazareth, you have called us to be people of peace, saying, "Blessed are the peacemakers," and reminding us that we are to love our neighbor and our enemy as we love ourselves. But we also acknowledge that there are times when we, as a global community, fail to be ourselves. Live out to those words, times when people were dehumanized and considered less than. Times when young men and women hear the call to don the uniforms of their country and serve under their flag to protect the most vulnerable. Today we give thanks to all of those who have chosen to serve their country, and we have sent prayers to those living in an area of war who are affected by the turmoil. Finally, we pause in memory of those who have lost their lives in the period of strife. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Thank you, Matthew. Dr. Maya Angelou is quoted as saying, "I come as one, but I stand as 10,000." I feel that quote encompasses the treaty and the prayer that was just shared. Those words show that stories infuse us. They make us aware of who we are and how we see the world. Life is made up of stories. Stories that inspire us, challenge us, unite us. As a school community, we are becoming more conscious and aware of those stories that impact us. Today, we have the incredible fortune to come together and hear a story about my grandmother's life. Danuta Izbiki, now Donna Lukomski, was born in Pinsk, Poland in 1932. For 7 years, Donna enjoyed life like any child her age should, playing with her 3 sisters, having dinner with her family, enjoying the scenery of her family's acreage in Poland. Her quiet life with her family was quickly turned upside down on February 10, 1939, when Russian soldiers entered her family's home at 4 a.m. The soldiers said to them they were moving their family from this place to another place, and if they didn't pack food and clothes, they were going to die like dogs. For the next 4 years, Donna and her family fought to survive the deplorable conditions, overcome hatred and prejudice, and simply attempt to survive. Donna's story is one of triumph in the eyes of adversity, faith in time of little hope, and a resilience to never give up on herself, her family, and God. Please join me in welcoming my Bupcha, Donna Lukomski.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming. My name is Danuta Lukomski. I was born in Poland, in Pinsk, on the east side of Poland, right next to Russian border. And my parents and 4 girls, we live on a huge acreage of land, very happy and very comfortable. My father was an agronomist, and he also worked for government as a forest ranger. And I was registered in the fall to start school, but nothing happened like that. Because 1st of September 1939, the Second World War broke out. Germany attacked Poland, killing people, destroying everything. And 2 weeks later, Russia attacked Poland. So they made secret pact, Stalin with Ribbentrop, that they will divide Poland between them, and they gonna take Poland off the map. But it didn't happen. I'm so happy it didn't happen. And then, what am I going to say now? When Russia invade Poland, first thing what they start to do, they start picking people up off the streets. And then they arrest all the people that work for government and all the intelligentsia, very high educated people. And they put them in a prison, and later on they shoot them. So during this time, because my father worked for government, during this time my father was hiding himself in a forest until Christmas. He was so cold and sick with arthritis, so he came home. And then, the same time, Russians, they killed 15,000 Polish officers in a cutting, in a forest. And in 2010, there was 70 years anniversary when it happened. So President of Poland, Mr. Kaczynski, and his wife, and 90 ministers of government, they all flew to Katyn to commemorate this day. And then you know what happened. The plane was crashed and everybody was killed. And Putin still denying that he had nothing to do with it. And investigation is still going on. So when on the 10th, now they start deporting people to Siberia. So on the 10th of February, 1940, I was deported with my whole family to north of Russia, to Archangels. And very early in the morning, Russian soldiers came with huge rifles, guns, and they knocked at our door very early, and they kicked the door open, they came in. So us kids, we start crying, we got so scared. And then they said to my parents that they have ordered to move us from our house someplace else. So my mother started begging them, why? My children are so little. What did we do that we have to move out? And winter, it was so cold, it was 40, 50 below zero. They didn't even listen what my mother said. They said to my father, they put my father in the corner of the house, and they said, you stay there and don't move, otherwise we'll shoot. And then they said, you have 2 hours to pack. You take warm clothes and food. If you don't, you're going to die like a dog on the street. And then they left. But outside of our house, there was already a sleigh with the horses waiting for us. So my father said, okay, let's start dress our children. My little sister was only 9 months old. So they start packing warm clothes, blankets, quilts, whatever they could, and the same with the food. And then they put us on and some souvenirs, some kind of valuable things, whatever they could take it with them to pack all together. Then they put us on a sleigh. And you know, the snow was so high that those poor horses, they were stuck in the snow so many times. Took us about a week to get to train station from our home. So we got to train station, and there was the trains that they transfer animals in it. So they threw us in a wagon, and there was so many people inside already. There was no room for anybody else. So we just came and we just sat on the floor inside the wagon. And inside it was only one little stove to keep us warm. And as soon as they threw us in, because there was no steps, they just picked us up and threw us in like a potato sack. And then they locked the door with bolts so nobody would escape. So now we are traveling, but we don't know where we are going, where they're taking us. So we've been traveling like this in this condition 4 to 5 weeks. Because train goes and they stop. When people been dying meantime, so the people that was inside the wagon, they opened the door and they just took the dead person and put it on the snow. And then we keep on going until we came to Archangels. And then they unload us. And there was the big guy, I guess he was in charge, excuse me, all dressed up in a fur coat and fur hat. It was unbelievable cold. And then he spoke to us. He is so happy that we arrived safely, so now we can work for the food. And he said, in Russia, who doesn't work doesn't eat. So they put grown-up people right away to work in the forest, cutting the trees in the wintertime. And us kids, we've been helping a little bit with bring the branches in. And then later on, they had to clean the snow off the rail tracks. And then they put us in a huge, huge building, just like a warehouse. There was nothing there. It was in the middle. There was great big furnace. And all along the wall, all the huge, huge building, all along the wall, they just put, there was a wooden plaque that each family took this spot as your home. That's where we stayed for over 3 years. That was our home on those wooden plaques. We put our belongings there, and that's where we stayed. And the door was always open, day and night. It was freezing right in this place. And later on, my father got a different job. He was delivering bread from the bakeries to the stores. So he brought one loaf of bread at night for us. So we ate at night under the covers, so nobody could see it. And my mother was put to work in construction to deliver the bricks in a barrel for the workers. And each grown-up person that worked got only 600 grams of bread. So my parents, whatever bread they got, and some kind of soup made out of fish heads that we got sick from it. So they brought it to our place where we stayed, and we have to share this much bread between 6 of us. So we were hungry, we've been starving. And the lice, there was no water, there was no salt. The lice was every place, eating us alive. I remember my mother used to take our clothes and she put it on the snow so the lice would freeze and die. Or she used to shake our clothes over the fire to kill the lice. And then every month, the grown-ups had to go to a meeting. So my parents had to go. So my father was just frustrated with arthritis and with all the situation that was there. So there was a picture of Stalin hanging on a wall. And all he said was, "What is he doing here?" And you know, somebody immediately reported him what he said. And they came and arrested him immediately. And they took him to a prison. And prison was located about 20-25 kilometers away from where we stay. Excuse me. So my mother went to visit him a couple times, and then I went with her once. So we walk, of course, 20 kilometers, and she always talked with him through the little window. So when she asked about him, they said he's not here anymore. So she says, well, where is he? He is not here anymore. That's all they said, and just don't ask any questions. So he probably died from starvation, or he froze to death, or they shot him. So I never seen my dad since. So we just went back home. Home. Well, yeah, that was our home. So we just went back. So now my mother, just with 4 of us, and we were just hungry. We were looking for food all over the place. How many times I went to garbages to look for potato peels to bring. And in the summertime, we could go to forest and find some mushrooms or blueberries, or pick up some sorrel that grew, kind of sour leaves that grew around the rivers. And we've been just wandering around looking for food, begging went to the houses, begging. And those poor Uzbekistan, they were so poor themselves, but they still share little lepioshka with us, like a pita bread. You know, they're just such a poor people. So one evening, grown-ups organized something to go and look for the food, or steal something. So my oldest sister went. My oldest sister is 3 years older than me. So she went with them. And you know, she stole a head of cabbage. On a field, there was lots of vegetable left behind, but nobody was allowed to touch it. It's government, it's going to get rotten, but you cannot pick nothing up. So soldiers, policemen, noticed my sister, so she ran back to where we stay. She hid herself under this bed, and they pulled her out, and just because she was underage, so they put my mother to prison. So now we have no father, no mother, and my little sister, we had to take care of her, and nobody cares what happened to us. We've been just walking, looking for food. And then the next year, the government decided that kids can't just walk around and they have to go to school. So they sent us to school. I don't know, my sister went to some kind of little daycare or something. I went to grade 2. And they start teaching us Russian language. Excuse me. I just have to have a little water. Where is this thing? Oh, here it is. And it was very hard for us to learn Russian language. I never went to college school. So they used to keep us behind after the classes and give us traps. And teacher used to tell us, in Russia, there is no God. You believe in Stalin, and he'll give you everything. I said, oh yeah, sure. And we just kind of kept this for ourselves. What a bunch of nonsense they're trying to tell us. But you wouldn't dare say nothing. You just kept all this to yourself inside. And the following year in school, I was much better. I was even otlitnica. It means I was the best student in the class. I was surprised myself. But I really knew how to read and write Russian language very well. But I forgot it all. It's not important. I don't want to know this language. They did so much harm for us. And then one day, my foreman of my mother told her, Stella, you don't have to come to work tomorrow anymore. You are free to leave. And she says, where would I go with 4 kids? Helpless woman. So you know this man, he took us at night on a sleigh and brought us to the forest, and he let us go. And he said to my mom, you look for Polish soldiers. There is Polish army is organizing someplace. You look for them. And he ran. If anybody would know, spotted that he helped us, he would be shot on a spot. See what happened? So we didn't know what was going on in the world. There was no radio, no paper to get any information, what's going on. So what happened when Germany attacked Poland and Russia 2 weeks later? Later on, I guess Germany got greedy and they attacked Russia. So Russia started pulling out from the Poland. So Stalin approached General Sikorski and General Anders if they would form Polish army to help Russia to fight against Germany. He would let all those people free. So he announced amnesty. If this wouldn't happen, I wouldn't be here today. So thanks God that the Germany, so all the people now start coming to the train station, but they send people to all those camps and tell them, leave everything behind, quickly, just start moving to the train station before Stalin changed his mind. So all the people were just coming to the train. There was lots of trains there, but there was no locomotives. So everybody tried to push themselves inside, and somebody helped my mother to put 4 of us in the train. So now we are in a train, and train is, finally we start moving, and train goes for 1 day, then stay 2 days in the same spot, then it goes again. And the train used to stop on an open field for no reason at all. Excuse me. So people used to jump off the train to look for food, or even bring some snow or little sticks to keep us warm inside the wagon. And on one of those stops, I jumped too. But now I'm 10, coming back from Russia. Excuse me. And my mother didn't know I jumped. Anyway, so now I'm going looking for food, doesn't matter what it is. Everybody is just running on the field. And I turn around and I see train is moving. Oh my God. So I ran to the train. The last wagon was open. And Russian soldiers were standing there in green uniforms. I remember this just like it happened yesterday. So I raised my hands, I said, please help me, pick me up. And they started laughing at me and spitting at me from the top. I said, oh my God, what am I going to do? So then I spotted little steps and railing. So I grabbed the railing and I pulled myself up. So now I'm standing on a metal platform, holding to the railing. I don't think I even had clothes. We had no winter clothes. So now I'm standing and watching those people still running, but now train is going faster. People still running, but they never made it. And I just stood and watched. They are there on a field to freeze and die. And why did this have to happen? It just breaks my heart. And then I was just watching beautiful trees covered with the snow. And mountains of Ural, the highest mountain in Russia, we've been passing by. Finally, we came to, then the train is just going without stop. I said, when is this train going to stop? Look like it is going forever. Finally, train is stopped. And again, people jump off the trains to look for food. And my mother was on the ground, and I tried to jump down too, but I couldn't. I was frozen, so I loosened up myself, and I threw myself on the ground. And my mother found me, and all the other people, my mother started screaming, excuse me, and they started rubbing me with the snow. They brought me inside the wagon, and they saved my life, because I am alive. But I was swollen for many, many years after, and I had always a red face, all those years after. So now we came to Krasnovodsk, port of Russia, and they put us on a big ship. But the ship was damaged during the war. So the ship was sinking. So they threw us in the safety boats, back up again. But finally we made it to Pahlavi, to Persia. And we get off the ship, and people, they didn't do nothing. They just yell and scream and pray and cry that God save us, that we are safe, that we finally left Russia. And there was hundreds and hundreds of white tents put up for us excuse me, on a shore of the ocean. That's where we stay, in those tents. And then first thing what they did, they took our clothes off and they shaved our hair because we are full of lice. And they put us through the steamer for disinfection. And we thought that they're going to poison us. You still didn't believe nobody. You still didn't know if you were in a safe place. But we did. We were in a safe place because Red Cross took care of us, an immigration refugee organization. So after this, they start giving us food. So you know our stomach, that many years we've been starving. We are not used to it, to food. So people have been dying left and right. So I remember going with my mother. I was just stepping between dead people. They've been just laying all over the place on the sand. And they had to clean those bodies quickly because weather is very hot. And epidemia would break out. So I don't know what they did with all those people, with all those dead bodies. So we stay in this camp for about 2 months. Then they move us to another camp, Auschwitz, still in Persia. And we stayed there about 4 months. And in those tents, of course. And I was going to school in Auschwitz, grade 2. But I was going to school sitting on the stones under the tree. And teacher was teaching us whatever she could, because there was no qualified teachers. And then from this place, they move us to Tehran. That's a big town of Persia, like capital city of Persia, Tehran. I stayed there much, much longer, because I received First Communion, and refugee Archbishop Gavlina came to our camp, and I received confirmation. And then my mom went to Red Cross Kitchen to volunteer, thinking that she would bring a little extra food for us. And she got sick. And they put us to orphanage, 4 of us. And how many times our supervisor came and they said, okay, Izbiki girls, Izbiki, it means my maiden name. Okay, Izbiki girls, let's go to hospital because your mother is dying. So here we go to hospital and we just kneel beside the bed and pray to God, God, don't take our mother away. What are we going to do by ourselves? My mother had big surgery on her head. I think she had sunstroke. But she did survive, and she was with us. Excuse me. And now, Maharaja of India opened his heart, and he accepted refugees to his country. So we went on a ship. They put us on a ship. And now we're going to India, to Bombay. And on the ship, American used to give us food in cans. So one evening, we opened a can of wieners. We ate some, but some was left in a can overnight. Excuse me. And my little sister, first thing in the morning, she took 2 wieners and started eating, and I grabbed from her 1.5. I said, Alinka, no, maybe they are no good, don't eat it. Give it to me. But she eats something. She eat at least half. Because she got food poison, and they took her to hospital on a ship. She was about 3, 4 now. She was such a brilliant, smart little thing. And when she was hallucinating, excuse me, she said to my mom, Mommy, if I would fall in the water, the fishes would eat me all up. And that's exactly what happened. She did die. And they wrapped her little body in a white sheets. They put her on a heavy metal, and they put ropes around her. And then they let her go over the board into Indian Ocean. My mother just about jumped after her, but people stopped her. And all of us were just standing on the deck watching all this. And I said, why is this happening? What next going to happen to us? She survived Russia, she survived Persia. On the steps of freedom, we lost her. So we came to Bombay, Kolhapur, that's the capital of India. And they prepared the refugee camp unbelievably beautiful. They really prepared this camp very nice for us. And our camp was named Valivade, Kolhapur, India. And we stayed in the big blocks. There was big blocks, long blocks, 12 families to a block. Our block was 63. So we had little kitchen, little living room, and little dining room. Just a little. And in a bedroom, we had beds, wooden frame, but mattress was filled with straw. And then on the top of the beds, there was net, because there was lots of bugs, scorpions, but bed bugs. Oh, bed bugs was just all over the place. Over there it was lice, now it's bed bugs. So those Hindu people, once a month, they used to come and pick up our mattresses, they carry on their heads, and then they threw them in hot boiling water in reservoir to kill the bed bugs, dry the mattress, and then they brought this mattress back to where we stay. This is the condition I was living for 6 years in India. But we didn't complain. We were happy, the weather was nice, we didn't freeze, and we've been getting food from the main kitchen. We brought the dish for our family. Now there is 4 of us, mother and 3 girls. 4 of us, and we've been just eating from one dish with a spoon on the table. That's how we eat. But it was okay, we didn't complain, I was so happy. And then we went to school, and school was really on a high level. There was elementary school, high school, university, and trade school. So they've been teaching us all Polish subjects, and then they've been teaching us English classes once a week. And my mother hired a Hindu teacher. She was coming to our place to teach us more English. So I was good in English. I could read and write. I could really manage, not too bad, my English, when I came to Canada. So we've been getting education. I only completed grade 10 because they move us from, when they closed the camp, they move us, I didn't finish anymore. And I belong to all the organizations. I belong to church organization, girl guides, choirs. I enjoy life in India the most. That was the most years of my youth. We were camping, singing in a forest, campfire. That was my life. I just enjoy every minute of it. It's just like heaven opened for us. So we stayed there until now war is over, 44, 45. War is over, they start closing the camps. So whoever had any families in England, in army, they sent those families to England. But we didn't have nobody, so we stayed in India until last. Now, government of Poland insists that all the people have to come back home. War is over, why don't they come back home? Lots of people did went, and they made big mistake. My mother was smart. She didn't put the name on a list to go back to Poland. Because it wasn't Polish government. Russia was in charge of it. They took over Poland. So they gave us a choice where to go. Like there was Argentina, Australia, Mexico, and Africa, East Africa and Tanganyika. Those countries was accepted refugees. So my mother put the name down that she wants to go to Africa. So okay, so we came to Africa, Uganda, East Africa. And again, we stay in a camp. Koya is the name. And our camp was located next to Victoria Lake. And there was lots of accidents. The people went to swim. There was lots of crocodiles. So they lost their lives. And we stayed, each family separate, in those huts. So it was okay. But we didn't go to school in Africa. They've been after us. Why those Izbiki girls don't go to high school? I said, no, we have enough school. We want to earn some money to buy clothes, because now I'm 14, 15. So I was working in an office, or looking after payroll for the people, African people, that work on a field and in the gardens. And my older sister was working in a hospital. They tried to train her to be a nurse. So we just kind of did whatever. There was lots of entertainment. Though they had to keep those young people occupied with something. So there was clubs and different entertainment, dancings and everything else. And then we went to jungle. It was danger, but we want to experience everything. So that was life in Africa. And early in spring 1949, a representative of government of Canada came to our camp, inquiring young boys and girls from 17 up to come to Canada to work on domestic. When I heard this, I'm going to Canada. I'm going to Canada. I said to my sister, don't you ever stop me. My mother didn't say nothing, but those sisters, they really busted me around. And I said, don't you stop me. I want to go to Canada. So I went and I put my name on a list that I want to go. And my mother was 44, so they wouldn't accept her. So we left my middle sister with mother. And my older sister also put her name down. So now we went through all this exam. Doctors, they have to check us, all exams, if we are healthy enough to go. Okay, this went okay. Now we're standing in line to sign the contract. So I'm standing in the contract, I'm the next. And I could see those ladies talking to each other, and one quoting, she's not old enough, she's not old enough. See, I was only 16. She's not old enough. And the other lady turned around and she looked at me and she says, oh, she looked chubby, she looked healthy, she should be okay. And they let me go. Chubby, I was swollen. After those years, I was still swollen. Anyway, but they let me go. So me and my sister came to Canada. And the families that was left in Africa, no place to go, they shipped everybody to England and they closed the camp. So now we're going to Canada on a huge ship, General Black ship. Over 800 of us. You can imagine what a kind trip this was. It stays with me forever. It's just such a wonderful, wonderful experience to travel on ship, and we did everything. Different plays, dancings, different things. We just enjoy ourselves so much, and we traveled from Africa until Halifax. You know how many weeks we had? Wonderful time on it. I could never forget this. It's just wonderful. So now we came to Halifax. And then we went to Montreal for 2 weeks, because they have to divide those people who goes where. So mostly of the boys, they went to Kitchener, Ontario, to work in the forest. But 3 of us was sent to Saskatchewan. Me and my sister to Abernethy on a farm. We've been working 3 miles away from each other, and the 3rd girl was working in Regina. So now my landlords came to train station to pick me up. And it was okay. I signed 1-year contract. I stayed there even longer. They picked me up. Excuse me, I have to have a little water. They picked me up, and I worked very hard on the farm, from 6 in the morning till midnight. They had a little girl, Dolores, beautiful little girl. Apparently, when she was a baby, she fell with the carriage off the deck, and she must have damaged her brain, because she had this convulsion of some kind. I have to be with her when parents went out to release the pain, to give her massage or something. So I was with her. And then I worked inside the house and outside the house. In the winter, between the trees, I cut maybe over 100 heads of the chicken heads. You know, with the ox on a wooden thing, whatever you call it, I don't know. And then I had to put them in boiling water, clean the feather off, clean the inside. And my landlady was pickled them in the jars, canning them in the jars. And then they told me to milk the cows. I said, I don't know how. See, I never worked in my life before. We've been just, going to school, and in this age, 16, you didn't work hard before. So I had every day nose bleeding on the beginning. I must have anemia, anemic, because we never had any vitamins all those years. And then they told me to milk. I don't know how. I said, oh, we'll teach you. Okay, so I went and I started milking the cow, and cow kicked the pail, and milk went all over the place. I jumped, and I said, I don't know what you're going to do with me, but I'm not milking the cows anymore, because I'm afraid. And they never make me anymore. The man was doing it. So that was good. So now there was this priest, Polish priest, Monsignor Gocki, and he had some kind of position with immigration, because he came from time to time on a farm to check on us, how they treated us. And then he took me for 2 weeks to Camp Manao. What a life. Playing volleyball, singing, campfire. It's just my life. I didn't want to go back, but I had to go back. Yeah, I had to go back. So I went back. And then 12th of August, 1949, so now it's 1950, my contract is finished. So Monsignor came pick me up. And then my landlord talked to him, and he came to me and he said, Danuta, they want you to stay 2 more months. I said, Father, I'm not staying here 1 more hour. I finished my contract, I'm going. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going. And he says, Danuta, but the harvest is coming. They need you. And you know, I couldn't say no to Father because he was looking for sponsors to bring my family from England. So I agreed. I said, okay, Father, I'll stay 2 more months. Even I hated it. I didn't like it. I wasn't happy there. There was not enough food. I was so hungry there. You took a slice of bread, 2 bites, and it's gone, just like cotton bud. And then one day, when they went out, I said, what could I eat so they would notice? So I went to the bar and I picked up 2 dozen of eggs. And I boiled them, hard-boiled egg. I destroyed the shells, and I eat them. You know, to this day, I don't know how I didn't get sick. I was good, healthy as anything. That's how hungry I was, still in Canada on a farm. And then Monsignor, so I stayed 2 more months. Monsignor came on the 12th of October. Now 2 months is over, contract is over. He came to pick me up. And he had a job already for me in Regina, to work in a convent with the nuns. Because he said, I thought you're going to be a nun, so you're going to work with the nuns. Okay. So there was a convent right across from Blessed Sacrament, close to Saskatchewan Hotel. But now they destroyed it, there's parking lot now. So I worked there. In the kitchen, washing pots and pans, cleaning. I didn't care what I did. I was happy, I'm finished contract, I'm free. I was so happy. Doesn't matter what they told me to do. And then Monsignor introduced me to young people from our church. And they invite me to go to a dance on 11th of November to Armors. But meantime, when I came in October, you know, when a young girl comes, all the boys are kind of interested right away. So I was receiving those notes from somebody, and one note, he signed George, then Eugene, then Kenneth. I said, who is this guy? Is that the same person or what? Anyway, I told those people that I went to the dance with, they said, oh, we know, that's probably George. He played big shot. He's just chumming around with English people. Okay. And then one of the girls said, Donna, this guy that's going through the door now, that's the George. That's George. That's the guy that sent you those notes. I says, oh, he's such a classy gentleman. All dressed up nice with a hat, nice suit. I said, but he's older. But that's okay. Then he came. That's your judgment. Then he came to this group because he knew them. And then he asked me to a dance. Okay, I was so shy. I said, I don't know how, but I did know how, but I was so shy. So I went to the dance and we've been just dancing and talking to each other. And he never brought me back to my group. And then he took me back to the convent before 12 on a bus, because nobody had a car. Excuse me. And in convent, you know, it's a rules regulation. When you go out, you have to put your name on a board, and there's time, what time you have to be back. Okay, so he brought me back home. Everything is okay. And then 1st of January, he had a big party of his birthday. He invited a whole bunch of people, and he invited me, so I went. So now from then on, we were kind of seeing each other from time to time. And then my family came from England. Monsignor found 2 sponsors, and my family came from England in October, and I got married in December with this person, with my distinguished gentleman. He was a very classy man. So I got married in December. I was 19 when I got married. And we had 6 children, beautiful children, such a caring little kids. But I lost one daughter 5 years ago. And we have 16 grandchildren. My husband doesn't know, but I have now 13 great-grandchildren. And my husband passed away in 2001. So I was living in a comfortable bungalow by myself on the 25th Avenue. And then my children and myself, of course, decided that I should not stay at home by myself in my age. And I moved to a retirement home, Greenfall Landing, a year ago. And I really love it there. Very lovely place, beautiful, friendly people, lots of entertainment. You know, you can't be bored over there. If you're strong enough to attend all this, what they're organizing for those old people, you have no time to do anything else. But it's very lovely. So, I have to tell you one more thing. That I went to Poland once. When I left, I was 7, and I only went to Poland once with 2 of my daughters in 2007, 12 years ago. And I couldn't believe it. When I arrived in Warsaw, I couldn't believe it that this was my beautiful country. You know, Warsaw was destroyed to the ground. And now, after 70 years, it rebuilt such a beautiful hospitals, hotels, schools, restaurants, food, Polish food. And people were so dressed up walking on the streets. I was just inhaling all this inside of me. So we went with a tour. There was about 45 of us. So we went to big towns, like Jasna Góra, Częstochowa, Kraków, and we went to Wadowice. That's where our Polish Pope, Karol Wojtyła, was born. But now it's a museum. And from there we went to Wieliczka, which is a salt mine. I couldn't believe it that there is such a talented people that could do such a statues, altars, everything from salt. So it was very interesting to see. And then from there we went to Auschwitz. Some people stayed behind, and my daughter said, "Mother, you can't go to Auschwitz, you better stay behind." I said, no, I'm going. I'm strong, I want to see everything. And I did well. But it was a horrible thing to see. It was big blocks with a glass around. And they took us from block to show what's in it. And one block is just pile of glasses. Another block, pile of hair. Another block, pile of shoes. Another one, pile of suitcases. And I said, my God, those are all remains of the people that die innocent. And then they show us the rail track where it goes to the chimneys, to the furnaces. So that's what they did with those people, innocent people. Million and million and million of people died with no reason. Why did this have to happen? So this Auschwitz stays with me in my mind forever. I can't get rid of it. It's just there. And then from Auschwitz we went to our Polish mountains, Karpaty, Tatry, and then those shepherds with their sheep on the mountains. It's just so pleasant to see. And then on a bus, we went back to Warsaw. And on the way, we've been buying souvenirs of the cheese that those mountain people used to make. They've been selling right on the highway. And so when we came to Warsaw, then we flew to Italy for 5 days to see Rome. Again, what a place to see, how rich it is. Beautiful paintings on the wall, so many altars, and those rugs, rich, expensive on the walls, every place. It was just so interesting and lovely for me to see. And then we just went back, and we flew back to Regina. And I said to my kids, now I was in Poland, I was in Rome, I don't have to travel no more. I have enough traveling. I am glad to stay home now. So that was my life. Now, I would like to say a few words to you students about education. How important education is. You can lose everything, just like I did. I lost my home, I lost my property. They threw me out from my home. But if you have education, nobody can take away from you. It goes with you every place. And now you can compare my life to yours, because I was your age too. 16, 17, 18. In India, Africa, that my age was there. I didn't grow old overnight. I had a hard life before now. And you have so much opportunities here. You live in such a beautiful, free country, Canada. Thank you that I could share your country also. And you have beautiful schools, qualified teachers, internet, books. All you have to do is work hard and study. Make your goal and try to achieve it. Because education is your future of your life. You don't leave nothing for tomorrow. Do it today. It's important. I think I close on that. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Every time I hear that, I'm reminded of how lucky I am. Number one, to literally be standing here. Her resilience and her strength allows me to have the life I have today. And when I look at the pictures that you saw on the board, and I think of our kids and my nieces and nephews and my cousins' kids, we are a product of this woman. And when she gives you advice, you listen. And when she offers you a pierogi, you say yes. Because it solves everything. Stomachache, you're hungry. You're hungry. She has shaped my life in more ways than I can describe, and I hope that she's impacted yours as well. I personally want to say thank you for your attention, for your kindness, and for your willingness to bring a piece of our heart here today. And to say thank you, Babcha, we have a very small token of our appreciation, and we just want to offer you a gratitude of taking this time to be with us today to share this unbelievable story. That'll do some closing remarks. Our veterans believe that Canada is a great nation. They believe in freedom and democracy, so much that they were willing to die to preserve it. Many have given their lives so you and I can have the great lives we enjoy today. All they ask is that we remember. The times and places where remembrance service being held in Regina are shown on the screen. I invite you to attend one of them, and if you're unable to, they're also being televised on TV. And at the least, let's give a moment of silence to remember that we are here as a product of their sacrifice. They ask for 2 minutes of our time, one day a year. They ask for us to wear a poppy as a sign of remembrance to show respect. In light of what we have been given, I think it's the least we can do. Please note, classes will resume back at 1:35. Once again, thank you so much for your attendance today. Have a wonderful afternoon.